Have you ever heard a story that could change everything you believe about hope? Listen closely, because this one might just do that. I can wake your daughter, Maya said calmly. The words came soft, almost too quiet beneath the beeping monitors and rustle of nurses' shoes on sterile tile. Yet they struck with the weight of thunder. Ethan Walsh stopped walking. He had barely slept in 3 days. His tailored overcoat hung unevenly from one shoulder, and the tie he once meticulously knotted now hung loose and defeated. In one hand, he held the discharge papers that would send his daughter home, not healed, but hollow. He turned slowly. The security guard shifted beside him, tense. But his eyes landed not on another doctor, not on some last-ditch specialist flown in from Zurich or Tokyo. No, it was a little black girl, 12, maybe 13. She stood near the edge of the waiting room, barefoot on the cold tile floor. Her hoodie was too big, sleeves frayed, and jeans torn at the knees. Her face was smudged, hair tangled. But her gaze, God, that gaze was steady as stone. "What did you say?" Ethan asked, his voice raw. "I can wake your daughter," she repeated just as calm. The air in the room shifted. A nurse at the station looked up. A man in a suit nearby chuckled under his breath. "Security," Ethan said, not shouting, but with enough authority that the two guards stepped forward. The girl didn't move. "Sir, she just wandered in," one of them muttered. "Probably from outside. Homeless." But Ethan raised a hand. Something in her voice had pressed pause on everything else. "You know who I am?" he asked. "You're Ethan Walsh," the girl said. "Founder of Walsh Tech. You make machines that think, but you forgot how to feel." The guards tensed again, but Ethan blinked. "What's your name?" "Maya," she answered. He studied her. "How did you get in here?" "I wasn't stopped." "That's not an answer." Maya tilted her head. "Neither is silence." One of the nurses stepped over, then Mrs. Jensen, the elder RN who had been with the hospital since its opening. She touched Ethan's arm. "I saw her earlier," she whispered. "She's not dangerous. Maybe just different." "She says she can wake Meline," Ethan said, voice flat. Mrs. Jensen didn't blink. "Then maybe you should listen." Ethan scoffed. "You think this is a storybook? That this barefoot girl is some kind of prophet?" Maya didn't flinch. "No, I think you're a father who hasn't told his daughter the truth." The words sliced deeper than Ethan expected. "She's in a coma," he said through gritted teeth. "Her brain isn't responding. I've had neurologists from 6 countries, AI predictive scans, experimental gene triggers. Nothing works." "I know," Maya said. "Because none of that speaks her language." Ethan stared. "What language would that be?" "Yours," Maya whispered. "But the part you stopped using after your wife died." Everything inside Ethan turned cold. He felt the room tilt just slightly. His hand clenched around the discharge folder. "You need to leave," he said. "I will." Maya nodded. "After you go in there and tell her why you're scared to be her father." Can a single moment turn a life around? Stay with us, because this story is about to take an unforgettable turn. Silence. Even the machines in the ICU hallway seemed to hold their breath. "She can't hear me," Ethan whispered. "She can," Maya said. "But she's waiting to know if it's safe to come back." He didn't know why his legs moved. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was because for the first time in 2 weeks, someone said something that didn't sound like protocol. Ethan turned and walked down the hallway. The guards didn't stop Maya when she followed room 219. But just hours earlier, Maya hadn't even made it past the front desk. She had arrived before sunrise, standing quietly in the shadows by the East Wing loading ramp. Her breath had fogged against the glass doors as she watched the nurses move through the corridors. She knew this hospital well, not from inside, but from its smell, its rhythm. When the early shift rolled in, she slipped in behind a vendor cart and wandered through the emergency corridor. She wasn't trying to cause trouble. She was trying to find Meline because a year ago, in a moment neither of them would ever forget, Maya had met her outside the park near Walsh headquarters. Maya was curled under a tree with a backpack for a pillow when a girl in a red scarf approached, crouched down, and offered a stuffed bear. "She doesn't fix everything," Meline had whispered. "But she listens, and sometimes that's enough." That night, they sat on the curb together for over an hour. Meline didn't talk like the rich girls Maya had seen from a distance. She talked like someone who needed to be heard. "My dad thinks giving me things is the same as giving me love," Meline had confessed, eyes lowered. "He buys me everything, but never sees me." Maya hadn't said much. She just listened. And for some reason, Meline kept talking. From that moment on, they met whenever they could. Quiet, stolen afternoons. Maya became the only person Meline ever opened up to. And Mia cherished her. So when Maya saw Meline's photo in the news, comatose, unresponsive, she didn't hesitate. She came. At first, she was blocked by a security guard. "You can't be here," he barked. "This is private." "I see you." "She's my friend," Maya said. "Nice story. Get out." But Maya didn't leave. She waited, circled, found her way past the side corridor. And now, finally, she was here. Meline lay still under a soft blue blanket. Her skin pale, cheeks sunken, tubes wound gently around her arms like vines. "She looks just like your wife," Maya said softly. Ethan didn't answer. "Talk to her," Mia said. "I've been talking," Ethan muttered. "Reading stories, playing music." "No," Mia interrupted. "I mean talk, not to the coma, to her." He sat down slowly beside the bed, staring at his daughter's tiny fingers. "I don't know what to say," he whispered. Maya sat on the floor, cross-legged. "Start with what hurts." He swallowed. "I left that morning. She begged me to stay. She had a fever, but I had a meeting. I thought," his voice cracked. "I thought it could wait." Maya didn't say anything. "I wasn't there when her mother died," Ethan said. "And I wasn't there when Meline fell." A monitor beeped slightly faster. Ethan leaned closer. "I should have cancelled the meeting. I should have read her that book again. I should have told her I was scared, too." A second beep. Sharper. Maya stood, walked over, placed her palm gently over Meline's hand. "She heard that," she said. "Keep going." And so he did. He talked not like a CEO, but like a man who finally stepped out from under his own shadow. By the end of it, Meline's fingers twitched. Ethan stood stunned. "Did you see that?" Maya smiled. "I told you she was just waiting for you to show up." Before Ethan could respond, Maya was already at the door. "Wait," he called. "Where are you going?" "I'll be back tomorrow," she said. If she still needs me, then she was gone. No one signed her in. No one saw her leave, but Ethan sat there all night, holding his daughter's hand, because for the first time, he wasn't just hoping, he was believing. The hallway outside room 219 was quiet. But Ethan's mind wasn't. He hadn't moved from the bedside all night. The sterile light of the ICU bathed the room in bluish stillness. Machines hummed softly. Meline's monitors blinked their slow mechanical rhythm. Yet, something had changed. He felt it. That twitch, her fingers. He hadn't imagined it. He kept watching her hand, willing it to move again. But hours passed and there was nothing more. Still, he didn't call the nurse. He didn't want to hear terms like muscle reflex or random electrical discharge. He didn't want science to explain it away because the truth was he felt something shift the moment Maya touched her. Ethan leaned back in the chair, rubbed his burning eyes, and exhaled. Maya. He'd thought about her all night. The strange steadiness in her voice, the certainty, the way she'd spoken about his daughter like she knew her. She did. Somehow, Meline had never spoken about friends. Not at home, not to her therapists. He always assumed she didn't need them. She had everything. A private school, a personal tutor, access to the best tools and toys. He'd given her everything money could buy. But maybe that had been the problem all along. She was surrounded by things but not people. And he hadn't been present. Not really. A soft knock on the door startled him. It was Mrs. Jensen. She stepped in holding a small tray of coffee, dry toast, and a banana. "You didn't leave all night," she said gently. "Figured I'd save you the vending machine run." Ethan nodded, too tired for thanks. "She moved," he said. Mrs. Jensen stepped closer. "Her fingers." He nodded again. She glanced at the monitors. Nothing recorded. "I saw it," Ethan whispered. "Right after I said things I've never said out loud. About the day Claire died. About the meeting. About how I left Meline with a fever and told myself she'd be fine." Mrs. Jensen studied him for a moment. Then she said softly, "That girl Maya, she may look small, but she's got weight." "Who is she?" "She said she's homeless, but I don't think she's lost." Ethan looked away. "How did she know what to say to me?" Mrs. Jensen placed the tray on a side table. "Maybe she didn't. Maybe she just listened. Something a lot of people forget how to do." Ethan ran a hand through his graying hair. "I haven't listened to Meline in a long time. I mean, really listened." Mrs. Jensen gave a small smile. "Well, you started last night." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "She left something with me," she said. "I don't know why. Said I'd know when to give it to you." She pulled a small wrinkled sheet of lined paper from her scrubs pocket and handed it to him. Ethan unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was crooked but bold. "Truth doesn't need volume, just courage." Below it, in smaller letters, "Don't stop talking to her. You're the key now." Ethan stared at the note for a long time, then folded it and slipped it into his inside jacket pocket like it was something sacred. Later that morning, he called his assistant and canceled every meeting for the week. And the next, he didn't leave the hospital. By evening, he was still beside Meline's bed. He read her the book she used to love, the one about the fox who couldn't fly, the one with the tiny village that fit in a teacup. He whispered stories from when she was 3, when she wouldn't sleep unless he sang. He talked to her like she could hear because part of him now believed she could. And then something small happened again. Her lips moved, just a flicker. Not a word, but unmistakable. He stood up so fast the chair screeched. "Meline," he whispered. No response, but her lips had moved. He pressed the call button, but this time not with panic, with purpose. A nurse came in, checked her pupils, noted her vitals. "Could be reflex," she murmured, but Ethan wasn't listening because just then Maya appeared again. She was at the door, the same hoodie, the same bare feet. This time, no guard stopped her. She looked at Ethan, her eyes tired, but calm. "She's getting closer," she said. Ethan rushed to her. "Where have you been? You can't just walk in and out like..." He stopped himself, lowered his voice. "I need to understand. How do you know her?" Maya walked over to the bed, stood quietly. "She told me," Maya said, not with words, but in how she listened. "She talked to you?" "Not exactly. But she opened up." "That's rarer." Ethan swallowed. "She never talked to me like that. She was scared you wouldn't believe her." "Believe what?" "That she was lonely. That your world was too fast. That she didn't want more stuff. She wanted more of you." Ethan closed his eyes, a sting rising behind them. "She gave me a bear once," Maya said suddenly. "Named Clementine. Said it made bad dreams go away. No one had ever given me anything before." If you believe that sometimes a small act of kindness can heal the deepest wounds, leave a like to support Maya and tell us where you're watching this from. BUP Stories. Who knows? Someone near you might be listening to this story, too. Feeling just as moved, Ethan looked at her, then really looked. You were her only friend, weren't you? Maya didn't answer. She didn't need to. I don't know how to fix this, Ethan whispered. Don't try to fix it, Mia said. Just be in it. Stay. That's what she needs. And then she stepped back. Wait, Ethan said. Will you come back if she needs me? Maya said. But now she has you. That's better. She turned and walked out. No one saw her leave. But Ethan stayed. That night, he didn't just read. He sang. The old lullaby, the one Claire had written. His voice cracked halfway through, but he didn't stop. And somewhere deep in the stillness, a little girl in a coma exhaled softly like she'd been holding her breath for far too long. The next morning came slowly. Sunlight slid through the blinds in thin, tired stripes. Room 219 felt quieter than usual. Still sterile, still humming, but now something lingered in the air. It wasn't just hope. It was the echo of a voice, a song, a confession. Ethan had fallen asleep in the chair beside Meline's bed, one hand still resting over hers. He stirred when the nurse gently tapped his shoulder. She's breathing deeper, the nurse whispered, checking the monitors. More rhythm, less strain. Ethan sat up straighter, blinking away sleep. Is that a good sign? She offered a half smile. It's not bad. That's what I can say right now. He looked at Meline's face. Still pale, still sleeping, but her chest rose and fell more naturally, and her fingers had curled slightly around his while he slept. He hadn't imagined it. He stood, stretched the stiffness from his neck, and whispered, "Hey, baby, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere." He kept talking as the nurse laughed. About when she was little and spilled grape juice on his conference laptop. About the time they watched the thunderstorm from the porch and counted every lightning strike together. About her mother's laugh. About everything he never thought to say until now. It was almost noon when a knock at the door interrupted him. It wasn't staff. It was a man in a crisp gray suit and narrow glasses flanked by a younger woman holding a digital tablet. "Mr. Walsh," the man said, polite but firm. "My name is Dr. Jerome Halbert. I represent the Medical Oversight Board for Private Care Facilities. I believe we need to talk." Ethan's body tensed. "About what?" The woman spoke up. "There have been reports that you allowed an unidentified minor into a restricted ICU room twice without medical clearance or legal authorization." Ethan's jaw clenched. She didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't vetted. Dr. Halbert continued. She has no medical training, no known guardianship, and now she's missing. She's not missing. She comes when she needs to. She's not hurting anyone. We're not here to argue that, Mr. Walsh. We're here to protect the patient. Ethan stepped between them and Meline's bed. I am protecting her. The woman glanced at the tablet. According to hospital policy, you've voided several privacy and liability clauses in your patient contract. The board will be reviewing whether continued access to this room remains in your authority. Are you threatening to take my daughter away? No, Halbert said, but we are freezing non-clinical visitation privileges. Effective immediately, that includes this Maya. Ethan stepped forward. You think I care about policy right now? I watched my daughter move for the first time in 2 weeks after that girl came, after I opened up. Do you understand what that means? Halbert kept his tone flat. Correlation is not causation. Emotions don't equal medicine. No, they don't, Ethan said. But they equal connection. And connection is what brought my daughter back from the edge. He looked down at Meline. You people think saving someone is about machines and measurements. But she wasn't slipping because her oxygen was low. She was slipping because I wasn't there. And Maya was. The woman cleared her throat. We'll be submitting a report by end of day. They left without another word. Ethan sat down slowly, heart pounding. He hadn't even realized his fists were clenched. A moment later, Mrs. Jensen appeared at the door. "I heard," she said. "They're going to bury this," Ethan muttered. "Pretend she never came. Discredit everything." She nodded. "They're afraid of what they can't label." Ethan sighed. "They think I've gone soft, unhinged." She smiled softly. "Maybe you've just gone human." That night, Ethan stayed again. And the next. On the third night, something woke him just after midnight. A low sound, faint, almost imagined. He sat up. Meline's lips were moving, not just twitching, mouthing something. He leaned close, heart hammering. "Sweetheart, baby." A whisper escaped, not fully formed, not loud. "Dad, DY," he gasped. "Yes, honey. I'm here. I'm right here." Her eyelids fluttered, not opening fully, but flickering. He ran to the hallway, pressed the emergency button. Staff rushed in. Monitors jumped. Pupils responded. "She's trying," one nurse said, breathless. "She's trying." Ethan fell to his knees beside the bed, tears wetting the blanket. By morning, she was stable. Still unconscious, but with response. Neurological indicators lit up the charts. "She's coming back," one doctor murmured. "This shouldn't be possible, but it's happening." Ethan stepped out into the hallway, needing air. The morning sun streamed through the tall windows. He found Maya sitting on a bench down the corridor, arms wrapped around her knees, hoodie sleeves falling past her fingers. "You came back," he said. She looked up. "I told you I would." He sat beside her. She said, "Daddy, last night." Maya didn't smile, but her eyes warmed. "She needed to know you'd wait for her. You were the only one who ever listened to her." "She listened to me, too," Maya said. "That's what made us friends." He looked at her. "Why you, Maya? Why did she choose you?" Mia stared down the hallway. "Because I didn't ask her to be anything. I just sat and she didn't have to pretend with me." Ethan felt a tear slide down his cheek. "I thought I could protect her by giving her everything, but maybe what she needed was less noise, more quiet, someone to just see her." Maya stood. "You see her now?" He nodded. "Thanks to you." She adjusted her hoodie, looking suddenly older than her years. "Keep seeing her even when she doesn't speak." Ethan looked at her carefully. "Do you have somewhere to go?" Maya shrugged. "Somewhere enough." He wanted to offer her everything. Money, shelter, safety. But he knew better now. So instead, he asked gently, "Will you visit again?" Maya tilted her head. "If she ever forgets, I'll remind her. That's what friends do." And then she walked away. No one stopped her. No one even seemed to notice. But Ethan knew she'd been there. He turned back toward the room. His daughter wasn't gone, and neither was he. 3 days passed. Meline was still asleep, but it wasn't the same silence anymore. Her fingers twitched more regularly. Her eyelids stirred in slow searching motions. Sometimes her lips parted as if caught mid-dream. The medical team tried to stay detached, calling it involuntary muscular response, but Ethan knew better. He could feel her coming back. He never left her side. Every morning he shaved in the family restroom down the hall, changed into fresh clothes his assistant brought, and came right back to the chair beside her bed. He read, he talked, he sang in a low, cracked voice. Each day, he waited and hoped. But on the fourth morning, something unexpected happened. A woman arrived at the hospital, tall, red blazer, camera-ready makeup, holding a lapel mic, and trailing a small media crew. Ethan was in the hallway getting coffee when she appeared. "Mr. Walsh," she said, extending a manicured hand. "Mia Thorne, Channel 8 News. We'd love to do a human interest piece on your daughter's recovery." Ethan blinked. "Excuse me?" "We've received reports of her remarkable stabilization, and there's a lot of online chatter about a girl, someone named Maya." Ethan's jaw tightened. How did you get in here? She smiled politely, but firmly. The hospital board approved press access this morning. We're only here for a short segment, just a few sound bites, but we think the public would be deeply moved by your journey, especially with that mysterious girl involved. Ethan's voice dropped. She's not a segment. Of course, Mia said, but don't you think the world would benefit from hearing this story? Ethan stepped back. No. I think the world needs to learn how to listen, not just consume. He turned away. But even as he walked, he heard her murmuring to the cameraman. Get exterior shots. Focus on the ICU signage. If we can't get him, we'll get the building. He stormed back into room 219 and shut the door behind him. Meline lay peacefully, the monitor steady. He sat down beside her and took a deep breath. I'm sorry, sweetheart. The world outside doesn't know how to be still. She didn't move, but the rhythm of her breathing deepened. That afternoon, Dr. Halbert returned. This time, with a more tempered tone, her neural response is no longer flat, he admitted, flipping through charts. We're seeing irregular but promising spikes in cortical activity. It's not consistent, but it's meaningful. Ethan stared at him. Say it plainly. Halbert hesitated. She's not waking up, but she's no longer slipping away. Ethan didn't smile. He just looked at Meline and whispered, I knew. As Hallard left, Mrs. Jensen entered carrying something in her hands. A stuffed bear, worn, a little lopsided, missing one eye. Ethan stared at it. Where did you get that? A janitor found it in the lost and found closet. Said it had a note pinned inside. She handed it to Ethan. He turned the bear over gently.